Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Dalia. I'm the marketing executive for Destination New South Wales, UK, and Europe. And today I want to talk to you about luxury experiences that you can find in Sydney and New South Wales. And we are short on time, so we're going to jump straight in and start with luxury experiences that you can find in our beautiful harbour city. Sydney is the key gateway into Australia, with most of the air capacity flying into Sydney. And it is, of course, also known for our beautiful icons and our beautiful harbour. So the Sydney Opera House and the Sydney Harbour Bridge. And there are amazing ways that you can experience Sydney Harbour and a lot of high-end experiences too. There are luxury tailored tours that take you around the city based on your client's needs. So, anything they can expect and want, they can request. There's also luxury boat cruises, and I would always say the best way to see Sydney Harbour is really by taking on some kind of boating and cruising experience. So whether that's sailing on Sydney Harbour, going out with luxury boat cruises, which is sort of a small motor yacht. Think of James Bond, really fantastic way to experience the harbour, or Sydney Harbour boat tours, who take you out into Sydney Harbour National Park and to those little hidden beaches within Sydney Harbour as well, where you can have a champagne picnic, some great seafood, and of course you get those amazing views over the Sydney Opera House and the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Another fantastic way to see Sydney is from above. So Sydney seaplanes is a really great way to experience Sydney and to see all the iconic sites, to get a really good feel of the city as well. The sprawling harbour, it gives you a really good idea of how big Sydney Harbour is as well. And it is also really great transfer options. So Sydney seaplanes do take people out to regions as well. So to the Hawkesbury River, just north of Sydney, to the Central Coast, and one of the luxury lodges there, as well as to Mara Lodge, which I do have a slide on later on as well. So it's one way to really see the city. There are helicopter flights too, but it's also a really great option for your sort of really high-end customer to go and explore regional New South Wales. And of course, when you are in Sydney, you want to experience our icons. You can climb the Sydney Harbour Bridge. You can go inside the Sydney Opera House, and they do have fantastic VIP tours available that include two-course dinners as well. You have a private guide who will also take photos of you in all the best locations. And there are many fantastic dining options, including Benelong Restaurant, which is one of our 5-star restaurants in Sydney. Then we do have some fantastic accommodation options that are perfectly tailored to that high-end market, including one of the newest, which is Crown Sydney. Crown Sydney opened about 2 years ago, so it is very, very new for us. And it is housed within the Crown Tower in Barangaroo, which is the largest building in Sydney now. So you can imagine just the views that you get from here. I mean, you can see it in the picture there. It doesn't really get any better than this. Fantastic property with, great, really spacious rooms, and infinity pool on the other side where you're overlooking Darling Harbour, tennis courts up on the roof as well, and really anything that you can think of. It is kind of rated as a 6-star property, so very, very high end. And there are also 14 different restaurants that are housed within the Crown Sydney, including Encore by Claire Smith, who is a British chef. So even if your clients are staying at the Park Hyatt or one of our other, very luxurious properties, it's definitely worth heading out to Barangaroo and experiencing the dining scene there. Another really exciting new property that has literally just opened up this month is Capella Sydney. So for anyone who's familiar with the Capella in Singapore, I've been told that the Capella Sydney is another level of luxury, even compared to the Singapore property. So you can experience really, high quality service, a beautiful pool, very spacious rooms that are about 30 to 35 square meters. And it's really ideally located near Circular Quay. It's within a heritage listed building, so stunning architecture, beautiful decor throughout. And while it doesn't have the harbour views, it is only a 5-minute walk from Circular Quay and from the icons, from the ferry terminal. So it's very, very easy to get around when your customers are staying at Capella Sydney as well. And then one that hasn't opened yet, but that we are very excited about, is the new W Hotel, which will come to Sydney in October. So just one to watch, and it is within that ribbon building that you can see on the left there in Darling Harbour. So lots of exciting new properties opening up and have just opened up. So, you know, you've got your standard Park Hyatt, Shangri-La, Intercontinental, but we also have some amazing new properties here. And then for something a little bit different, if you have clients who are looking to stay somewhere that just has a bit of a wow factor, there are now accommodation options aside from the Raw and Snore at Taronga, with the Taronga Wildlife Retreat, which opened in 2019. So still fairly new property, beautiful 5-star accommodation, and it's within an Australian wildlife enclosure. So you can wake up and find a koala just sitting there in the trees outside of your room. Some of the suites also have harbour views. Those do book out quite quickly, especially for New Year's Eve, as you can imagine, because you do get that stunning view over the harbour and the harbour bridge, the Opera House and the fireworks. Then I mentioned Bennelong, restaurant within Sydney Opera House. There are amazing fine dining options to be found all over Sydney. So the key ones to kind of keep in mind for your luxury customer would be Bennelong, Quay and Aria. Those are the top 3, and they all have harbour views, you know, whether it's looking over the Opera House or looking over the harbour bridge, and fantastic, you know, chefs here serving up the best of Australian cuisine. Also, another amazing dining spot with a different view is Icebergs at Bondi, where you get to have, you know, an amazing dinner overlooking Icebergs Pool and Bondi Beach. And there are also private surf lessons that you can take with Let's Go Surfing. But now we're heading out of the city and into regional New South Wales, starting in the Blue Mountains, which is a 90-minute drive from Sydney. It's a UNESCO World Heritage listed national park, known for the iconic Three Sisters rock formation, and there's plenty of wildlife that you can see here. And one of the best spots to stay and see wildlife is the Emirates one and only Walgam Valley. I was very fortunate to stay here a few years ago. It is one of the luxury lodges of Australia, and it's one of those places where you can just experience the Australian lifestyle, have that Australian bush experience. You know, you go hiking, you can do stargazing, you can go on wildlife safaris and see wombats. But you're surrounded by nature and by wildlife while staying in a stunning accommodation. Each guest will stay in their own private villa with a private pool. There's also a larger pool and all spa amenities that you can think of, a fantastic on-site restaurants, and they have helicopter transfers available for guests as well, to and from Sydney Airport, but you can also request helicopter transfers to other properties, for example, along the Central Coast or in the Hunter Valley. So really one of those key experiences. Some of you may have dialed into the Luxury Lodges of Australia webinar yesterday. This is definitely one of our key properties, and it is one of the 3 luxury lodges that you can find in New South Wales. Then another property that we have on the Central Coast that is new is Mara Mara Lodge. Situated on the Hawkesbury River, it's nestled on its own peninsula. So you can only get here by boat transport, or you can take the seaplane from Sydney. And each of these villas have water views. You can do kayaking, you can explore the Aboriginal heritage of the Hawkesbury region, taste some amazing food as well. And also from here, it's very easy to get to Broken Bay Pearl Farm. Again, you can take a boat or you can take a helicopter from Mara Mara Lodge to get here. And it's a stunning pearling property where you can hear more about the pearling industry, see how they find the pearls, how they farm and harvest them. But you can also enjoy a tasting experience and taste the pearl meat as well, which is very similar to oysters. And then then also on the Central Coast, we have Pretty Beach House, which again is one of the luxury lodges of Australia. And it only has 4 guest suites. So it only houses 8 guests at any one time, and is very private and exclusive, located on the beautiful Budi Peninsula. And from here, we head into the Hunter Valley, which is Australia's oldest wine region and home to 150 cellar doors where you can do wine tasting, wine and cheese pairing, wine and chocolate pairing. It's mostly known for its Semillon and Shiraz, but you do find other vine varietals as well. Amazing accommodation can be found here. Places like Chateau Elan, which do have spa as well, 3 different Spicer Retreats properties, and one of the best experiences in the Hunter is seeing it from above on a hot air balloon ride. So in this experience, you get to soar above the vineyards. You can see the kangaroos as they hop through the vineyards as well. And it's a very early morning activity. So when you land back down, you are greeted with a champagne breakfast. One of the newest properties, and apologies, I've just seen the S has been cut off. It's Spicer's Tower Lodge, not Picer's Tower Lodge, in the Hunter Valley, is the newest Spicer retreat that opened up here a few months ago. Now we have 3 of the Spicer's retreats in the Hunter, and this one again brings that fantastic service, that home away from home feeling, and the idea is that it kind of takes on the Spanish villa-style accommodation in the Hunter Valley. A different winery experience, and this is a little bit further inland, but is also one of the ultimate winery experiences of Australia, is Printhie Wines in Orange. They've got different wine experiences. They've got sparkling wine here, so there's a lot of experience, including sparkling wine as well. And they have launched a helicopter winery tour. So fantastic way to see the area, soar above Orange, which is a bustling city in country New South Wales, and then also have that winery experience, very private and exclusive. And they have also partnered up with Marama Lodge. So if your visitors are staying at Marama Lodge on the Central Coast, they can do a flyover to Orange with the helicopter and then have that wine tasting experience here. Now, Port Stephens, this is about 3 hours north of Sydney, is a coastal haven with 26 bays and beaches. It's the dolphin capital of Australia. Its waterways are larger than Sydney Harbour, so you can imagine there's a lot of sailing and other water-based activities that you can do here. But it's also home to the largest moving sand dunes in Australia. So you can do quad biking with an Aboriginal guide and have an amazing Aboriginal experience here, or you can hike to the top of Mount Tomaree and enjoy those stunning views. And there's a koala sanctuary in Port Stephens too. So lots of fantastic ways to experience Port Stephens, and there's great accommodation, including Bannisters, which also houses the Rick Stein restaurant, as well as the Anchorage, which is a sort of marine-style 5-star restaurant. And then Byron Bay, I'm sure you're all familiar with. It is that perfect place to see the sunrise at Cape Byron, Australia's most easterly point, to kayak with dolphins, to do some yoga on the beach. And the Crystal Brook Byron really is the perfect place to stay. It's a rainforest retreat located by the beach, so you get the best of both worlds. It's a very relaxing place to stay, and they do offer things like yoga on site, so you can really embrace that Byron lifestyle. And then just quickly heading south, I know we're very short on time today, so heading south of Sydney, we are heading towards Jervis Bay, which is a 3-hour drive from Sydney. Stunning white sandy beaches, some of the whitest in the world can be found in Jervis Bay. Again, you can find dolphins here. Between May and November, you can go whale watching, you can do sailing, kayaking, and all those sort of coastal experiences. And it's also got fantastic accommodation with Paperbark Camp, which was a pioneer in Australian glamping, and offers these 5-star glamping tents nestled in the Australian bushland. Another accommodation option is Bangalore Luxury Villas, only an hour from Jervis Bay, which is kind of your alternative option for people who might not want to do the glamping. And then this is also located along Australia's oyster coast. So the Shoalhaven region south of Sydney is a beautiful wine region which offers very crisp wines, but also oysters, including the Sydney rock oyster. So there's a lot of different oyster tasting experiences that you can find here. And you can go whale watching and then wine tasting all within one afternoon. And then I can't really do a luxury presentation without touching on Lord Howe Island. Lord Howe Island is a UNESCO World Heritage listed island, about a 2.5 hour flight from Sydney. Only 400 visitors are allowed here at any one time, so it is always very exclusive. It's very protected, and they do take that environmental protection very seriously here, to ensure that all the native wildlife can maintain. So stunning scenery, stunning wildlife experiences, but also stunning accommodation. So you can find Capella Sydney here, which again is one of the luxury lodges of Australia. That is all from me today. We are out of time, but we do have some fantastic resources. There's a lot you can find in the file section, or you can scan this QR code as well. And now we're just going to see if there are any questions. I know this was a bit of a whirlwind tour. There are so many amazing experiences in Sydney. So let's see if any questions have come through. I don't want to take you guys away from your break. So hello, everyone. I see there's a lot of familiar faces here. Lots of great comments as well. Fantastic to hear that you stayed at the Crown, Ken. It's amazing, isn't it? So yeah, if you do want any more information as well on the luxury lodges, if you haven't seen the webinar, there's obviously a recording of that. I think we are going to put this presentation up in the files section as well. Taronga is a must-do. I absolutely agree. It's the zoo with the best view, and it's obviously fantastic staying there too. So fantastic comments. I'm not sure I'm seeing any questions. So Lord Howe Island, I've just seen the question about booking a year in advance. I would say yes, that is still the case. So I know Capella in particular has definitely been booked for 2023, as Australians discovered their own backyard. Luckily, Australians have started traveling abroad now too, so that will hopefully help with some of the availability issues that you may have faced in previous months. But I would say Capella particularly should still be booked in advance. There are other accommodation options though, like Arugilla Retreat is another fantastic 5-star hotel. So you might find more availability if you broaden that search a little bit. Great. Well, thank you all. And yeah, have a lovely rest of the day and great weekend. Thank you.